Okay, welcome back. In the last video, we have seen how to get all the necessary keys and endpoints and version number and model name from Azure OpenAI Foundry, AI Foundry. Let's go ahead and use them. To use all those different keys, first you need to understand what exactly is a .env file. So let's go ahead and create a .env file. Here we are in VS Code. This is a totally blank repo. There are no files inside of it. So let me create a file with the name of .env. Now inside of this, I'll say my key is equal to 1234. Save it. Now let's create a Jupyter notebook. I'm going to read this value and I'll print it here. So we can use the same thing. I'll copy all of these. I'll paste it here. You don't have to put the spaces and inverted commas, but it's just a bit better if you do that. I'll put some random placeholders for now. I'll save everything. And I've created my .env file. Next, let's go ahead and pip install this particular library called python.env. In my case, I've already installed it. Okay, requirement already satisfied. Whenever we are doing installations, I would suggest you to add this quiet if you're writing a pip installation in the Jupyter notebook. If you're putting it in terminal, then you can just write only the pip install. But if it is in a Jupyter notebook, just put the quiet. Okay, so we have already installed it. Next step is this piece of code. I'll paste it here. So let's see what we are doing. We are importing OS library, and from .env, we are importing the load.env function. And I'm calling that function, which means whatever I've got inside of this file will be added to my environment variables. And I can read it like this: os.getEnv. I'm storing all the same things in these variables. Let's try to print all of them. Okay, you can see environment variables loaded successfully, and you can see all of my placeholders. Now what I'm going to do is I'll replace all these placeholder values with my actual key value pairs. Sorry, actual keys. Copy this. This is my endpoint. This is my version. For my deployment, I'm going to use GPT 4.1. Okay, finally the API key. So I'm going to I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll place the API key here. I'll save the file and then I'll leave. But just to show you that things are working, I've saved everything, clear all outputs, restart. You know what? Let's put them in separate lines. Okay, you can see all the things have been updated properly except for the API key. Okay, I'll stop sharing my screen. I'll update the API key and I'll remove the print statements also. Okay, I've updated. I didn't have to stop my sharing. Let's clear everything, restart, and when I run this, yeah. So right now, all of the environment variables are correct. So this part is done. Next is installing the dependencies. Pip install OpenAI, which is a very, very basic way of installing your OpenAI library. I'm pretty sure I've already installed this one. Next, we need to set up the actual client to connect to my API. To do that, I'll be using this piece of code. I'll copy this, I'll paste it here. So import OS as usual. From .env, we are loading everything. And now from OpenAI, I'm importing Azure OpenAI. And these things are as usual, load environment variables. Now I'll pass whatever I've loaded to my connection. So version, endpoint, API key. All the three will go here. But the model name is missing, right? So we'll pass the model name only when we are using the actual client. So here we are just connecting to the client. So we know we don't need the model name here, but when we are using the client, we need it. I'll show it to you in a few minutes. So let's try to run this. Okay, there you go. So it was able to successfully connect. Next, we have this piece of code, which is running your very first sample code. And let's observe what is happening in this code. Until this point, it's as usual. I'm fetching all the things. I'm connecting to my client. Next, if you see here, messages, maximum tokens, temperature, top P, and model. These are all the different parameters that you can pass in your API request. So model name, this is where I'll pass the GPT 4.1. If I print it, you can see GPT 4.1. That will go here. Top P, temperature, maximum tokens. These are all the different parameters. Uh, because we don't want to take up 1 hour explaining all these different things, I'm going to skip them for now. But essentially, maximum tokens is, let's say if you are asking ChatGPT to write something, and if the number of tokens exceed, for example, you're asking it to write an essay, it's a very, very long essay, and the tokens are going beyond 4096, then it will stop. It will not finish the essay. And temperature value is 1. So let's say if I'm asking the same question 100 times, because the temperature value is 1, I'll get the exact same answer no matter how many times I will ask. If it is set to 0, then for every single time I ask that question, for the same question, I'll get totally different answer. Relevant, but the phrases, the sentences, the words it's going to use to explain it are going to be slightly different. Next, we have top P value, which is a slightly confusing topic for many people. But essentially, let's say if you are asking for a very complicated question, then the LLM model will have n number of outputs and it tries to use the top P value to decide which output to give to you. So let's say if I'm asking it to tell me a joke. So to predict the tokens, it has n number of choices per each token. So for every single token, it will try to use the top P value to choose which token to use. We'll try to cover more about what exactly are tokens and what is temperature and all these different things in the later parts of the video. But the most important one is this one, messages. So you have role, system, role, user. So these are the two things that you can give. There's also one more thing called tools that you can also give. We'll explore that in the very end of the course during agents. But you will have system as sorry, role as system and role as user, two things that you can pass. So the content is, these are all system instructions. You are a helpful assistant. Now this is up to you. You can write a very huge string as well. So let's assume that you want to create a persona, or you want your LLM model to follow certain set of instructions. You can write all those instructions in the system. uh, let's take a very simple example. You want your model responses to always have some sort of a emoji. So I'll say always use minimum 10 emojis. And now I'm asking my question. I'm traveling to Paris. What should I see? If I run this piece of code, I'm printing the response here. Okay. You can see it wrote it, but it gave out all these different emojis. If I remove this part, then there are no emojis. It's giving everything in nice markdown format with absolutely no emojis. But if I add that in the system instructions, it will definitely follow it. So whatever you want, whatever instructions or behavior guidelines you want to give, you can pass them in the system instructions. And whatever is your actual question, you can pass it in this part. And based on that, it will write you a very nice answer like this. Let's go with a simple one. Tell me a joke. Or let's use the same thing actually. So I'm traveling to Paris. What should I see? It gave such a huge answer. It's actually even more bigger. Yeah, you can see this is the whole answer. It wrote all of this in one go and gave you the final output. Let's see that again. Two, three. Yeah, in 3.9 seconds, it wrote everything. It gave you the whole thing at once. So if you go to ChatGPT and if you ask the same question, let's try it. It's not giving the whole thing, it is writing it. You see, word by word, it is writing it. So this is what you call as streaming output. So to get the streaming output, you can do that in Python as well. If I go here, you have this piece of code where you are enabling stream equal to true. So let's copy this piece and I'll paste it here. I'm asking the same question. What should I visit in Paris? You are a helpful assistant is my system instruction. I can also remove them, not an issue. My string is equal to true. Previously, I didn't pass anything. So by default, it will be false. So I'm passing stream equal to true. And I'm using a very simple for loop because this is going to act as a generator. So I'm going to use a for loop to print everything in one line. You can see that, right? So it is writing it word by word. So approximately it will take the same amount of time. But the only difference is now you're not getting everything in one go, you're getting it word by word. As the model predictions come out, you'll see it directly here. So that is about streaming. And here, if you observe, okay, let's run this again. Yeah, so this is the output that I got from my LLM model. This is what AI given to me. This is not what I wrote. My question was this one. I'm traveling to Paris. What should I see? This is what AI gave me. But if I want to ask any follow-up question, I cannot just say, what about Dubai? I cannot say that because it doesn't know what answer it gave out previously. So what we can do is we can store the information, whatever it gave out, we can store it and we can pass it in the conversations, in the messages list. Let's see this example. I'll copy this one. I'll paste it here. So if you see, role is system, role is user. Now we have role assistant, and the content is the answer for my question. What's worth seeing in Paris? Let's assume that this is what AI has given me as the answer. So this is the prediction that came out of my LLM model. Here we got a very huge response. It's very, very like in number of, I think 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 lines. Instead of 14 lines, I've written it in just one line. Okay. So this is the AI response. Now I'll ask a follow-up question. What's special about Eiffel Tower? Okay, let's do something else. Dubai. So it remembers what my previous conversation is, and then it will give me the correct answer again. You see, this time I didn't ask it to specify all the different things that I have to see in that area, but still it understood from the previous conversation and it is following the same thing again. So once I get this response, I can append it to my messages list and I can ask the next follow-up question. So this is how we can have n number of conversations using OpenAI. So that's pretty much it about the introduction for OpenAI library. In the next course, we are going to generate structured outputs, which is one of the most interesting and extremely useful thing. And we'll also build a proper repository with different functions, and we'll use all of them together as we go forward in the future lessons. See you in the next course.